Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aldas, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Valtteri Bottas and how he recently said that he would be open to a switch to Ferrari. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about Valtteri Bottas' season and a certain Ferrari's driver season as well, and then we're going to take a look at the end at what would this move actually look like and whether it would be beneficial to both of the teams and the drivers. Now guys, if you do enjoy this sort of content and want to support the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and drop a like on the video as well. That would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But yeah, let's get into it. So Valtteri Bottas has had a very good 2019 season so far. He is looking like a completely different driver to the one he was in 2018, and 10 races in, he is doing very well against his 5-time world champion teammate Lewis Hamilton. Lewis himself, of course, is leading the championship and in 10 races has got 7 wins and 3 pole positions. But Valtteri hasn't exactly been just struggling to keep up with Lewis. He's also had a decent amount of success with 2 wins and 4 pole positions. That's actually one more than Lewis, and currently is 39 points behind him in the championship. Now, I've seen many people, especially on Twitter, still think that Valtteri Bottas doesn't deserve that Mercedes seat, that he's not doing enough in 2019, but to me, that is just absolutely ridiculous. I think he is, at the moment, one of the most underrated drivers on the grid. I think he's doing a brilliant job, and comparing him to Lewis Hamilton, I think we can all agree that Lewis is definitely the superior driver. He's got every single attribute that you need in the book, but Valtteri now in 2019, with this amazing Mercedes car, you know, there's no way that I can't mention that. Again, he's doing a really solid job. He's been able to get some really good wins, also been able to get a lot of pole positions as well, like I said, more than his teammate, and that is really one thing that has impressed me. Definitely Valtteri's qualifying pace, and also he has shown a really large amount of resilience on race day to stand up to the pressure, and even when he's leading the race under a massive amount of pressure, whether that's any of the Ferraris or against his teammate, he is able to hold on to it and take it to the end. So that has really impressed me. That's something that we didn't see in Valtteri in 2018, and again, it's just another thing that sort of adds to how much he's improved in the past year. I think Silverstone is another very good example of why Valtteri Bottas definitely deserves to be kept at Mercedes, and it's just ridiculous to talk about him leaving because in Silverstone, Lewis Hamilton, obviously the home favourite, the most wins around the circuit, or joint at the time, and on Saturday, it was Valtteri Bottas who banged out that pole position and just did the better job. You know, it was very, very close. I mean, 6,000ths of a second. So, yeah, unbelievably close between those two. But even in the race, yes, Lewis was the quicker driver. There's no doubt about that. But Valtteri was able to keep him behind. He showed real strength to fight off Lewis Hamilton, even overtaking him back into Copse Corner. So, yeah, I mean, that was really good to see. And of course, yes, in the end, it was the safety car that kind of gave Lewis Hamilton the win. But if there was no safety car, you know, we're never going to know whether Valtteri would have won the British Grand Prix or if Lewis Hamilton in the end would have just had a little bit too much pace and would have been able to overtake him. But nonetheless, Valtteri did a very solid job. However, like I said, his seat is very much wanted by a lot of people. I mean, everyone wants to be in that Mercedes, and there's already 2 drivers just waiting and chomping at his heels to get into that car. I mean, Esteban Ocon, of course, is also waiting in the wings as the reserve driver, although Toto Wolff has already said that with Esteban Ocon there, he might be able to be let go just to further his Formula 1 career if they cannot get him a seat at Mercedes. And then, of course, we come to George Russell, who's doing an exceptional job and has not put a single foot wrong so far in 2019. Yes, despite it being in a very poor car, sadly, the Williams just is not up to pace, but hopefully that team does improve. But, you know, he's already been saying that he's ready for the Mercedes seat, which I'm not sure about. But already, you know, 2 young guys just ready to get into that Mercedes and ready to take Valtteri's seat. And I mean, to me, I think Valtteri definitely deserves to stay in that Mercedes. And this is where we come to basically the point of the video where recently Valtteri Bottas did say in an interview that he thinks that he does deserve to stay at Mercedes, but he will have to wait a few more races for the decision. It still has not been made, but he is making progress and sort of talking a bit about Lewis Hamilton as well. He's saying that whilst Lewis is such a great driver, and obviously without him in the team, he does think that he would be able to achieve more wins. He does enjoy having Lewis on the team because it pushes him to improve more and more. But the really interesting thing that he said is that, and I quote, "If I have to leave the Mercedes, I would like to be in the team that is in second place, and at the moment, that team is Ferrari." So this is where we get to the other side of the coin, and that is, of course, Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel. Now, let's look at Sebastian Vettel's 2019 season so far. I mean, in 10 races, he has only had 4 podiums and 2 second-place finishes with a pole position in Canada. He has had a very messy 2019 season, and at the moment, obviously after the Silverstone Grand Prix and the crash with Max Verstappen, he is continuing from all of those mistakes that he made in 2018, and so far, I mean, he's spun in Bahrain versus Lewis Hamilton in wheel-to-wheel combat and lost the win there, by the way. I think he could have had the win, considering Charles Leclerc had his reliability issues, and considering how much pace that Ferrari had, he lost the win by spinning against Lewis Hamilton in Bahrain, and then in Canada he also made that error and again lost another win. Of course, with the whole stewards controversy, which I will not be getting into, of course, in this video. And then we get to Silverstone, where he crashed into Max Verstappen and potentially lost a podium place. So yeah, I mean, Sebastian has just not looked like himself and is currently only 3 points ahead of his teammate Charles Leclerc, but more worryingly, he is 100 points behind championship leader Lewis Hamilton. That is 4 race wins. I mean, that is just massive considering we're only halfway into the season. And I don't think this is really a similar struggle to what he had in 2014 with Daniel Ricciardo in the team, because I think this is carrying over from 2018. So I think it's 2 completely different scenarios to what it was at Red Bull in 2014 and now at Ferrari in 2019. However, kind of sticking with Red Bull, Helmut Marko has recently said that he also thinks that Vettel should leave Ferrari because it's not the right environment for him, and I kind of have to agree. Sebastian Vettel is not the same driver as a Fernando Alonso or Michael Schumacher, who can just grab a team by the scruff of the neck and just completely lead it by themselves and be the main man. He needs a bit more of a supportive cushion around him, and clearly Ferrari just don't have that for him, and that's absolutely fine. You know, some drivers are like that. That's not a bad thing, but clearly with Charles Leclerc stepping also into the team, he just doesn't have the same support, and again, everyone's just expecting him to be the championship contender. Everyone's just put so much expectation and pressure on him, just like it was in 2018 when he was making all those mistakes. I mean, Kimi Raikkonen, no one put any pressure on him because, you know, let's be honest, I'm a massive Kimi fan, but he was nowhere near a championship contender. So no one had any expectations of Kimi in 2018 to win the championship. They just thought, oh, you know, if he might get a few wins and a few pole positions there and there, he'll have a really good season. But with Sebastian, they put everything on him. He was the guy that the Tifosi thought would bring the title home, and it's kind of similar in 2019. And actually, there's something that Susie Perry, by the way, who presented Formula 1 for the BBC in 2014, it's something that she said about Fernando Alonso at the time at Ferrari that I think kind of applies to Vettel, and it was, he is in love with winning a championship at Ferrari, but I don't think he is in love with Ferrari. That's what she said about Fernando at the time, and I kind of see that about Sebastian. I think he really does want to win a championship at Ferrari with the Schumacher connection, but I don't really see Ferrari as the right team for him. However, of course he can turn things around. He is a quality driver. He is one of the very, very best in Formula 1, a 4-time world champion, of course. And I think he just needs that one win, that one breakthrough race that can really launch his season and perhaps give him more confidence and just eradicate some of these mistakes that he's been making wheel to wheel. You know, I don't think he's actually lost it. I still think he is a quality driver, but he just is lacking a little bit of confidence. But getting back to the point of the video, Valtteri Bottas switching from Mercedes to Ferrari. For him, to be honest, I actually see a lot of sense, and especially for Ferrari as well. Sebastian is a very emotional guy, there's no doubt about that, but with Valtteri Bottas in the team alongside with Charles Leclerc, I think that sort of calm pairing, you know, Charles is very self-critical, he's also sometimes quite emotional, so with Valtteri Bottas there to sort of ease a little bit of the pressure and maybe just calm the team down a little bit, I think that could be a very solid pairing. I think they would challenge each other quite well, I think they would complement each other quite well, and I don't think there will be too much tension between those two, so I actually don't mind that pairing at all. Once again, I will repeat myself, Valtteri Bottas is a quality driver, he is one of the very best, and in my opinion, very underrated. So yeah, for me and for Ferrari, I think that would be a very good move. For Mercedes, however, Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, I think, might just be a little bit too hot to handle, because we know that Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton have a lot of respect for each other. There's no doubt about that, but when they fight for a championship, wheel to wheel, and especially if they would be in the same team, I mean, we've already seen that it can get quite messy, and there was plenty of fireworks. I mean, we all remember Baku in 2017. That got very, very dramatic very, very quickly. So, you know, with them two in the same team, I think it would sort of be a bit of a comeback to the whole Rosberg-Hamilton era of Mercedes. And I don't think Toto Wolff wants that for him, wants that for the drivers, but more importantly, wants that vibe for the teams. So that's what I think the big problem would be. You know, as amazing as it would be to see Hamilton and Vettel in the same team, you know, 9 world championships between them, or probably 10 world championships by the time we get to the end of this season, It would be an amazing story and an amazing maybe even end to their careers in a couple of years' time, but I don't really see it happening. But for Ferrari, Valtteri Bottas is a very good pick. He is a very calm guy, and under that massive pressure cooker, I think he will do a very solid job. And they still have Charles Leclerc, a guy who is developing all the time. It's just getting better and better and better. Honestly, I think that is a very good combination. So again, you know, never say never in Formula 1. I mean, who would have thought that Daniel Ricciardo this time last year would have signed for Renault? And that is what I always come back to, you know. This move might seem a little bit ridiculous, but never say never in Formula 1. Anyway, guys, there you go. That is my video on Valtteri Bottas potentially switching to Ferrari for 2020 if he does not get re-signed by Mercedes. But what do you guys think? Do you think this move is at all possible? And what do you think this would be like for the drivers and for the teams? Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? Let me know in the comments below. I cannot wait to see what you guys think. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video and if you do enjoy the content on my channel, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out my social medias, Instagram and Twitter will be above. But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.